how is this the last day of daily December art candy? I have had such an incredible month with you. I was completely unprepared for how wonderful it would be on my end of things. And I hope that it's been good for you as well. I'll have a bonus video that ties up some of the loose ends. I have some pieces of art to show you, like, how did that turn out and that kind of thing, and maybe a little reflection of everything that I learned this month doing this practice. And yeah, I really want to reflect on that because I think that there might even be some useful bits to come out of that. But in the meantime, I have your art practice in mind because I'm thinking about you. And so, happy New Year's Eve. Today's daily December art candy, yay, is get ready for an awesome year of art. I have some tips that you might know some of them, but I'm gonna put them all together because I think they're very useful to get ready for basically tomorrow and beyond. Kind of like the Lorax speaks for the trees, I speak for our art practices today. They're often the first thing to go when pesky things like basic survival or important family members pull our attention. But we do need to remember that as artists, that making art is part of our basic survival, and our art practice is kind of like a beloved family member. And so we can treat it as such. Even if art is not your source of income, that doesn't mean that it's not essential to your life. So let's get ready. We're gonna need the space and the time and the stuff and the attention that our practice needs and deserves. First, I want to talk about the space. Obviously, it's time to declutter, and if there's stuff that's just been piling up, it's time to unpile it. But here's something to consider. If you're like, dude, it's New Year's Eve, I'm not going to be cleaning up everything right now because I'm cleaning up the rest of my house, or I'm getting ready with my sparkly outfit to go out with my friends. That's okay. What I suggest is, if you don't do it today, even sometime this week, getting your place ready can mean taking a bunch of stuff and putting it in a drawer. And don't worry about it right now. Like, it's okay because you just had a really busy month and it's okay. But here's what I would do if I were you. If you're sort of like, I can't clean up right now. What I would do is think about what you decided with your action board. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I made a video about it the other day, and so I will put a link to that at the end. But if you know what you want to do in the next few months, and that can include the clarity of, I just want to explore in January. That's okay. You don't have to have a goal of like, I will make 5 paintings. But whatever your desires and goals are for January, it's time to get your space ready for that specifically. So if you are hoping to learn oil painting in January, there's no need to have your watercolors out. Just put your watercolors somewhere else and have the things that you know you're gonna wanna be using, put them front and center. Get them easy to reach for. You're setting yourself up for the thing you actually wanna be doing. Really helpful. And yeah, I love to organize. I mean, I feel so much better if I know where everything is, but there are times where I'm like, I do not have time to think about what to do with this pile of papers. So this pile of papers is going to go into this drawer. Maybe I'll put it in my calendar. Haha, I don't do this, but like you could put it in your calendar to go through that pile of papers in March or something like that. So now you have your space. Now let's talk about your time. What do you already have in your calendar? Is it like a few appointments? Is it, I don't know, like your day job? Your family's social obligations, etc. When are you going to do the things that are for you? So as you might know, if you did watch that action board video, on a personal level, I am definitely going to be prioritizing self-care because that is not where my brain defaults to. My brain defaults to, how can I help you? So anyway, I'm working on that. But your art practice or yourself, if you're like me, need a little bit of concrete planning where you prioritize it first. Like maybe it's the first thing you do during the day, But my question to you is, what is realistically the amount of time that you can devote to your art practice this next month? Because if you're like, I'm going to do it every day, but you can't really do it every day, then you're kind of creating a future bummer for yourself, you know? So if you can only do it 2 times a week, but those are the 2 days when you might be able to to carve out a few hours, that is great. But I would recommend making appointments for those times, because man, our quiet little art practices, they can slip through the cracks so easily when all the pressing needs come knocking on our door, or even sort of just like urgent but not important things pop in, you know? So making appointments. Now let's talk about stuff. As a painter, specifically what I need to do is make sure that I always have surfaces ready to go. So some people might be able to just buy a bunch of canvases and they just start painting. I tend to pre-prep even before that. I will either prime again a primed canvas, especially if I'm working with oil. I will also tone some canvases in case I want to work on something that already has some color underneath it. So if you don't already have your surfaces ready to go, this would be a great thing to do for yourself. Gift to future you. Another thing is look at your tools. If you are a marker person, go through and find out which ones are the dry ones so you can order some juicy ones. Or if you are a brush and palette knife person, which ones are actually falling apart because you left it soaking in the water too long, and which palette knife has dried up paint all over it and you just don't even really want to use it because it's got stuff on it. So this is a great time to just pare down, clean up, get ready, make them all spiffy, and yay for tools. The 5th one is optional, but also important. But if you have those other 4 in place, this is a great 5th thing to do. And that is reach out to someone or a few people who are art friends, where you can get something in the books to meet up and show each other some of the things you've been working on. I recently learned of something called National Quitters Day, which is apparently it's either January 17th or the second Friday in January. Apparently it's the day when 80% of Americans abandon their New Year's resolutions. And so I guess one thing you could do when you're looking at your calendar is plan a couple of things for after January 17th. And anyway, these aren't really New Year's resolutions, are they? This is just us preparing for the lives that we are already living, and expanding them a little bit, basically taking care of our future selves and our art practices. So yeah, I guess this is not exactly what I would call a resolution. This is just life. But yeah, I'd still put something in the calendar. In fact, I'm definitely going to do that. So you can hold me to it. I'm going to look at my calendar. I'm going to put some stuff in the calendar really specifically for my practice and or meeting with other artists.